Afternoon, everybody. It's 5 o'clock on Tuesday, which means it's time for math. My name is Jeremy Jasper with KathleenJasper.com. And just like we do every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m., we got all things math for your teacher certification math exams. So just like every other week, I've got 10 problems that I'm going to go over. And these problems cover just kind of like a generic overview of the type of math that you may come across or that may be assessed on your teacher certification exams. There's no real set. I've got all elementary today. I've got all geometry today. It's just a kind of little bit of everything. And it's done by you, the viewers who have been with me for a little while now. I've been doing these Tuesday night sessions for a while. So keep sending in your problems that you have, and I will keep going over them for you so that you will be successful on your certification exams. Whether you're joining us live or on the recording, you can get the problems at the link underneath the Facebook link, if you're on Facebook, or the YouTube. So on YouTube, you'll see there'll be a link right underneath there. And with that link, you'll be able to access the slides. And I've done each problem on its own slide so that you can work each problem out individually. Print it out however you want. But the main thing is you have to use scratch paper or a blank slate or something, because you have to mimic what you're going to have when you're doing the test in its test environment. And you won't have anything to work with other than blank paper. So learning how to work with problems that are on the screen and then on paper. And then second, make sure that you have your calculator available to you. This is the Scientific TI-30. Depending on the test that you're taking, please make sure you know which calculator you're going to get, because if you don't and you're working on your phone the whole time, then that's going to do you no good, because you're going to be used to that phone calculator, and that phone calculator is going to be different than whatever calculator you get on the test day. So now that I've got everything up and ready to go, and look at that right there, my first comment says, just wanted to say thank you. I passed my math exam last week. That's fantastic. That's what I'm going for here, guys. I'm here to help you out. I'm here to make your life just a little bit easier, because remember, it's all about just passing this test. I really don't care if you're going into mathematics or teaching mathematics. I want you to understand what you're doing so that you can just get the right answer on 73 to 75% of the problems on your test. That's the goal that you're searching for. Nobody gets an award for getting 100% on these tests. You may get an email saying, hey, you scored a perfect score, congratulations. So a big deal, nobody cares, just as long as we get that passing score, whatever that passing score may be for your state or district. All right, let's go ahead and roll right into this, and then we'll end the day. So I hope that everybody is doing well. We're in the last week of April. Isn't that crazy to believe? After April is May, and May really sets things off, whether you guys are giving standardized tests, end of year exams, all of that good stuff. And the next thing you know, it's summer. So, and then we do the whole thing all over again. All right, so here's our first problem. First problem says Jasmine bought an alarm clock that was on sale for 25% off the regular price of $24.99. She paid an 8% sales tax on the sale price. Which of the following is closest to the amount Jasmine paid for the alarm clock, including sales tax? So whenever I do sales tax, I'll do this a couple of ways. The way that I feel is easiest. And again, during these sessions, I'll try and solve these problems in as many ways as I can think of. For the most part, it's up to you to decide which way you like. I will never say, oh, you have to do it this way. I'm not that kind of teacher. I want to make sure that what you're doing makes sense to you in your mind, because what makes sense to one person may not necessarily make sense to another person. So whenever I am given, I've got either discounts percentage, or I'm being taxed, or all this kind of stuff, I always want to think of it as, I always like to think of it as I'm taking 100%. So I always start out with 100%, and that should make sense. You can't start out with higher or lower than 100%. All right. So the price of your item represents 100%. If I were to take a sale or a discount, right? Because discount means to take off or take away. And in this case, 25%, well, then just subtract the 25%. And what that means is now I'm going to be paying what was once 100% of my price. And regardless of what the price is, doesn't matter. We're just thinking of it in terms as a percentage. I am going to be paying 75% of whatever the price or the original price of that object is, because I'm getting a 25% off discount. It says the regular price is $24.99. So I'm taking 75% of $24.99. How do I do that? Well, what we want to do is I've got 75%. How do I convert that to a decimal? You can think your decimal is right here, and percent is always worth 2 places to the left. So that equals 0.75. Or you can always do your percentage over 100, because what does percent mean, right? It's in the word. Per means per, and then, or every, and then 100 is 100. So for every 100 divided by 100, whatever it may be, either way, you're always going to get the right decimal, 0.75. So having the understanding that I'm paying 75% of my total price, right? 75% of $24.99, which is 0.75 times $24.99. And then I'm going to do that real quick. 0.75 times 24.99 equals, I got 18, and then I'm just going to round it 74 because it's money. So I'll round to the nearest cent. So I pay $18.74. Now it says she paid 8% sales tax on the sale price. Okay. So then I start the whole thing over again. I've got a new 100%. So this was the old one. So now in order to get the cost of sales tax is 8%. But if I want to figure out and do it all in one step, right? If I have 100% of my price, in this case, it's the 1874, and I add sales tax, right? So that's plus, I'm paying 108% of the price. Does that make sense? So 108% is 1.08 as a decimal. When I do 18.74 times 1.08, I get $20.24. That is the total price of what the cost is going to be for this item after a 25% discount and then 8% on the sale price, 2024. Okay. So that's how you calculate discount plus a sales tax. Okay. So now let me show you another way, in a way that most people do it. And I just, again, you do it the way that you want to do it and you feel more comfortable doing it. A lot of people will do it this way just because that's how they were taught. So let me just erase everything real quick. No way is better than the other. I'm more comfortable with the way that I just did it because it makes more sense to me, and that's fine. You may like it this way because it makes more sense to you. We'll take our $24.99 and you will take 25% of $24.99. So $24.99 times 0.25 is going to give me $6 and rounding up 25 cents. Okay. You're now going to take, because that represents your discount, you're going to do $24.99 minus $6.25. So $24.99 minus $6.25 equals $18.74. Now you have to do your sales tax. So you're going to do $18.74 times 0.08, and that's going to be $1, and we'll do $1.50 because we're We're going to go ahead and round it up. It's really $1.4992. And then now you take 1874 plus $1.50, and you get, I'll bet you get the same thing I just did, $20.24. So it's all a matter of what, when I do it with the 100% and then taking away and adding, I'm eliminating this step here and this step here, because 125% got me this number in one step. And then 108% got me this step right here. Okay. So that's why that works, but you can do it this way if you want. Again, does not matter whatsoever the order that you do it in. I will tell you, don't do this. And this is a misconception, because it says, okay, you got a 25% discount. So let's just say this. So out of 100%, I got a 25% discount, but then I got 8% sales tax. So what if I did plus 8%? Well, if I did it that way, I end up with like 117%. So that's 1.17, and then times 24.99, right? Because I mean, what am I doing? Sorry, I added, whoa. It's like, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense at all. 100 minus 25 equals plus 8 equals 83. That's better. Sorry about that. 83%. So now what do? I take 0.83 and I multiply it by 24.99. Now you'll see, because I know the answer already, I get $20.74. Well, if I were doing that, and that's why I just say, just because it's a minimal difference and they may have the answer choices closer than you think, and it won't always work out this way. But you see how it's different here. It's only different by a minute detail because it's only the 8% that we're doing with the sales tax. And it's 50 cents more than D, but you would already gather, just because $20, the only answer choice that has $20 is D already. I'm confident that you would get D just by process of elimination, but you can't do this because you have to take 25% off the price, get a price, and then take 8% of that price. When you're compounding the discounts and then adding taxes, you have to find out what each step is first before you attach it to the next one. Okay. All right, let's move it on. Second problem says the diagram shows a floor plan of an apartment with a rectangular floor. The ratio of the width of the bathroom floor to the width of the entire apartment is 3:7. What is X, the width of the bathroom in inches? So this is what I need to find, is right here. And this is the only thing they give me. And I've got a ratio. So if I've got a ratio, that means I'm going to do a proportion. And when I do proportions, I like to do what is called, I'll just do it down here, matchy. So my matchy is going to be, in this case, I've got the ratio of the width of the bathroom floor to the width of the entire apartment. So I will do bathroom over apartment. Now you can do apartment over bathroom. You can do floor. It's whatever, really, it's whatever you can think of. I go with the words that are in the problem. This one said bathroom. This one said the entire apartment. So I'll just do apartment. And that's how I will make sure that all of my values are correct in my proportion. So the first ratio or fraction is going to be bathroom over apartment. So let's do it with what they give me. And in this case, I got 3/7. So 3/7 represents 3 as the bathroom, 7 as the apartment. And you can read it because as you read the sentence, it says width of bathroom. These are all done in respective order. So it's the order that it tells you. So 3 goes with bathroom and the entire apartment goes with 7. So that's what that means right there, so that you don't get confused and put the wrong numbers in different spots. And the second one is bathroom. Now, what is my value for the bathroom? So now I'm looking at the diagram, and that is my unknown, or my X. And then the entire apartment, that's going to be 28. So now that I have my proportion, let's just double check, because the question said inches and this is in feet. So you've got to be careful when you see that, because more often than not, if I were to do this right now, I'll bet you I get one of the answer choices and then you would get it wrong, because we are dealing with 2 different units, because this is 28 feet and I want inches. So we can do a couple of things here. Now that we got the proportions set up so that you can see it, okay, let's go ahead and solve it. So I'm just going to erase this here. So that I have room. I'm doing 3 over 7 equals X over 28. Knowing that this is in feet. So I can do first, I can figure this out. How do we figure out a proportion? Well, the easiest way, in my opinion, is you pick up your calculator. So once you get the proportion done, you should put your pencil down and you don't have to write anything else. Because what you're going to do is you're going to do cross multiply. Well, the only 2 numbers you can cross multiply are 3 and 28. So you do 3 times 28 in your calculator and you hit equals. So now you have that number in your calculator. That number happens to be 84. With that number in your calculator, cross multiply and divide, the only other number that's left is the 7. So you just hit divide 7 and you get 12. It's really 84. 7 equals 12. What is that though? It's 12 feet. So be careful, because as you look at this, I don't have any 12s in my answer choices. So you could be saying to yourself, uh-oh, what's going on? I'm confident, I know I did it right, but what you didn't do is you didn't convert it. So how do we convert? Well, if I go from my whole thing right here, if I go from big to small, all right, so big unit to a small unit, we are always going to multiply. So we're always going to multiply. And in this case, you always want to multiply by what I call it the magic number. So when we're dealing with inches and feet, what's the magic number for inches and feet? And it's going to be 12. So you take whatever you have as your value, you multiply it by 12, and you'll get feet to inches. So in this case, it's 12 times 12, because there's 12 inches in every foot. You get 144 inches, and that is going to be your answer. Okay. All right. Conversely, if I were to, just so I can show you, just in case, if you were going from small to big, think about it. What's the opposite of going from big to small? You're gonna, ooh, that's a terrible D. You are going to divide, right? Same thing. You're gonna divide by the old magic number, and it's 12. Okay. So that would be like saying, if I started in inches, that's 144 inches divided by 12, you get 12 feet. That's how it goes. Okay. So just so you can see that, I always like to throw that in there as many times as I can on conversions, because it keeps you doing the conversions correctly every single time. Okay. 144 is your answer. Down here, again, same thing. We could do this as well. If you start out with your proportion, we've got 3 over 7, and it's equal to, what do I do here? And I had Oh, what did I do? Did I here? I feel like I put 12. So 3 times 28, 84. 28 feet X. Sorry about that. So what I did was I converted the 28 feet to inches. So if it's already 28 feet, then just do it times 12. Redo your X over 28 times 12 equals 336. So then now we're in inches. So whatever I get, 336 times 3, 1008 equals 7x divided by 7 divided by 7. Again, you would do all this in your calculator. No need to write this. The goal of not writing things down is to save you time. And for a lot of you, time is what's going to kill you. So you've got to make sure that you are doing any means necessary to, and you'll get 144 equals x. Same thing. Any means necessary to save time. Seconds matter, right? If it's a 100 question or it's a 60 question test and you save a second on each question, that's a whole minute. Okay. So those seconds really do add up. And if you're struggling finishing your exam, you've got to make sure that you save as much time in as many places as possible. Okay. It looks like a more difficult problem, but it's really not. And don't get discouraged when you see problems like this pop up and it's like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. Area A of a parallelogram is 64 x to the 9 y to the 6 square feet. The height h of the parallelogram is 16 x to the 3 y to the 2 feet. The area of a parallelogram can be found by using the formula area equals base times height, which the following best represents the length of this parallelogram's base b. So you're like, what in the world? How can I figure this out? Well, they tell you area equals base times height. So it already starts out, area is 64 x9 y6. So 64 x9 y6 is equal to base. In this case, base is what we're looking for. So it's b. And then it's going to be times, because base times height. Here's our height right here. And it's the only other value in the problem. So if they give you, so this is area equals base times height, that's 3 things. And they ask you to find one, well, they have to give you 2 out of the 3. And the 2 out of the 3 are the 64x9 y6. And now this one, 16x 3 y2. And she says, what is b? Well, how do you solve for b? Well, if this whole value is right here attached to the b being multiplied, well, then that means we're just going to divide it. Okay, so then all I do is do 16x 3 y2. So that's gone here. Eventually we're going to get what b is equal to. And then now how do we figure this problem out? Well, we just do what we normally would do. We'll start dividing. We'll start with the numbers first. So if you do 64 divided by 16, you get 4. So bring this down. I know that 4 is going to be in the answer somewhere. So what I can do is see how 4 is here and 4 is here. It can't be 80 and it can't be 48. So these are out and these are out. So just by doing that, I now have a 50-50 shot at getting this correct. Next, I have x9 divided by x3. So what happens when we have variables that have exponents on them? Well, the first thing we need to do is, I'm going to erase this here because we all know what we did over here. If I have same bases, so it's just like saying x9 and x3, I've got 9 on the top and 3 on the bottom. It's just like saying I've got x, 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 x. That's 9 x's over 3 x's. What you can do is you can cancel out as many x's that are on top as there are on bottom. And what are you left with? In this case, I'm left with 6 on top. It's going to be x to the 6 on top positive. Okay. The other way you can do it, if you see it this way, it is x to the 9th divided by Well, when we deal with exponents and we have same base, there we go, divided by x3, it's just the same as saying x9 minus x to the 3, which gives you 9 minus 3 is 6, x to the 6. I still get the same answer. Okay. So, and because it's positive, it stays on the top of the numerator. If it were a negative and I did that, it would stay at the bottom. So with this one now, I've got y to the 6, y to the 2, 6 on top, 2 on the bottom. Well, that's just going to give me 4 on top, a positive 4. And that'll leave me with A as the correct answer. Okay. So just knowing top, bottom, all that kind of stuff. And then let me just show you something just in case, just because I want to, so you don't get confused. What if this were 6 and this were 2? Then it would come out as 4x to the 6. And because there's more on the bottom than there are on the top, it's going to be y to the 4. And if you did it y to y6, see how if you subtract them, you get y to the -4. Well, we know -4 belongs at the bottom or the denominator of the fraction. Okay, but that's just if I would have changed that, just so you can see all different things that happen and what they will assess you on with these types of problems. Okay. In 81 boxing matches, Rocky has won 51 by knockout. Assuming Rocky wins all future matches by knockout, how many more matches does he have to complete in order for his ratio of knockouts to matches to become 2 to 3? All right, so this is an interesting one because we're dealing with our sample size and we need to make it match a ratio. With what we have here, we got 81 and 51 by knockout. We got to get it to the point where it is 2 to 3 ratio. And what that means is, and you can do a couple of different things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it by a ratio first. So again, if I did matchy, you know that says matchy matchy. I'm going to do knockout over matches, right? So knockouts, he's got 51 knockouts. And then boxing matches, he's got 81 knockouts. Okay. But then we have to have it equal to 2 over 3. Well, right now it's not equal to 2 over 3, because if you did 51 over 81, okay, 51/81 is equal to 17 over 27. And that does not look like it's the same, right? So that doesn't work out. So what has to be done is we have to add matches. And that's what it says. How many more matches is it? So what happens when we add matches? Well, you have to take the number that you have, 51 plus x. Well, the total matches is now going to change, right? For every new match, what happens? Well, if I get a knockout, I have to go another match. If I already done 81, the next one would be 82, but that would also be the same amount that I got knockouts for. Does that make sense? So you have to add the variable on the top and the bottom to keep it consistent. You can't just have a knockout, but not fight in the match. Does that make sense? Like if it was 51 plus x over 81, that doesn't make sense because this x has to at least be one more match that he has. So that's why it's going to be this right here. So now this is going to eventually equal 2 over 3. So now go ahead and remember what we have here is, let me do this. So that's how we got our proportion. This is important. We've got to have this. It's 51 plus x, 81 plus x is equal to the 2/3. So I want room so I can do the math here. So I've got this 51 plus x over 81 plus x equals 2 over 3. These are values. Put them in parentheses, because when we cross multiply and divide, this is now going to become 3, and then 51 plus x is equal to 2 and 81 plus x. So as I go through, distribute, this is going to be 153 plus 3x is equal to, it's 162 plus 2x, right? I think I'm doing everything right here. So now solve for x, bring the small to the big. So I'm going to subtract 2x here. And then I'm going to subtract 153 here. Gone, gone. I get x is equal to, and that's going to be 9, right? So 9. It's going to take 9 more matches to get us to that ratio of 2 to 3, 2 knockouts for every match that he's in. So D is the correct answer. And if we go through it, 51 plus 9 equals 60. 81 plus 9 equals 90. 60 over 90 gives me 2 out of 3. Okay. Another way you can do it, you got the answer choices here. You can go process of elimination. Get rid of this. If I were going through these answer choices, it's the same as doing, okay, if I started with A. Now, obviously this may take some more time, but if you don't understand the problem in getting to the proportion, then maybe you can do this on your calculator. It's just like saying 51 plus 3 over 81 plus 3 is equal to 54 over 84. And that does not equal 2 over 3. Bam, and then you go to the next one. Okay, so that's it. That's how you solve that one. Okay. Next, we get to number 5 here, where it says Mandy bought a bag of peanuts to share with her friends. Trisha received 1/2 of the peanuts in the bag. Vince received 1/4 of the peanuts Trisha received. And then Ray received 1/3 of the peanuts Vince received. So it's like 1/2, and then that person got 1/4 of 1/2, and then that person got 1/3 of 1/4 of 1/2. If Ray received 4 peanuts, how many peanuts were in the bag Mandy bought? Okay, so if we were to have we have, let's just call it how it is. We have X amount of peanuts, okay? Then Trisha received 1/2 of those peanuts. So now I'm doing times 1/2. So that'd be 1/2 peanuts. But then Vince received 1/4 of hers. So when we compound these fractions, you don't have to find like 3 different equations. You take 1/2, and then you're taking 1/4 of 1/2, and then you're taking 1/3 of 1/4 of 1/2. So they all get compounded together. And so it says, if you take all of that, then how many peanuts would you have if all of this were equal to 4? So now we do 1/2 times 1/4 times 1/3. So it's going to be 124x is equal to 4. So we're dividing by a fraction. And when we divide by a fraction, you take it up as its reciprocal. So it's 24 over 1. So it's just like saying 4 over 1, because we put that in a fraction, not equals. 4 over 1 times 24. This is the same thing as keep, change, flip, if you're familiar with that. 24 over 1, and 4 times 24 is going to give us 96, right? 24 times 4. 96. So the total number of peanuts that we have, in this case, that would be this X value right here that we took the different fractions of. C is your answer, 96. Okay. All right, halfway there. We'll grab some water. Okay, next question. So you'll see a lot of these, and it's just to have an understanding of using your inequalities, and they'll give you the whole scenario, and then they'll give you an inequality. They won't say, but these are easy. Just break them down as you read them, and you'll be just fine. It says Wanda wants to buy some picture frames for her home. Small picture frames cost $8 each, and large picture frames cost $12 each. If Wanda wants to spend less than $100 on picture frames, which of the following inequalities can be used to determine the number of small frames and large frames she can buy? So just pick this apart. If you get totally confused on these, just start picking them apart. I know that small pictures cost $8 each. Well, as I look at my answer choices here, because remember, you all get answer choices. S for small, L for large. Makes sense, right? Because they even tell you S here for small, L here for large. So which ones say 8S? And I've got 8L here. That doesn't work. I got 8S here. I got 12S here. That doesn't work. And I got another 8S here. So I know that I'm eliminating these two answer choices immediately. Now, just figure out which one is the right one, because they've got 12 large, that's good, and then 100. She wants to spend less than 100. So what does that mean? That means that the quality that you spend, or quantity that you spend, has to be less than 100. That means your 8S plus your 12L has to be less than 100. So what you should do, and I always find this easier to do when you say it out loud, and especially if you're in a testing center, you can't really talk. So as you are sitting there, just kind of mouth it. Just say in your brain, 8S plus 12L. And then in this case, it's going to be less than 100. So looking at your answer choice, you see B, it says 8S plus 12L. And then what does this sign mean when it's pointing that way? For this case, it means less than. And so what am I supposed to find? I'm supposed to find less than. Well, that works. I'll pick that one. And that's the answer. Just to double check, go with D, 8S plus 12L, makes sense. And then when the sign is pointed this way like that, whenever it's, you know, the alligator, the hippo, whatever, the Pac-Man, when it eats it, that's going to be the greater than side. So 8S plus 12L is greater than 100. No, we don't want that. That's out. So we have just shown that B is the correct answer. It's best to just mouth these or read them out loud in one sense or another, okay? Because I just feel like when it comes out of your mouth, it's not just in your head. And I know in your head during these math tests, a lot of crazy things going on. And so we want to try to avoid that at all costs possible. Okay. All right. So now let's go to the next one. Okay, so a little bit of coordinate geometry here. And again, nothing to be scared of. All right. So it says, which point on the grid satisfies the conditions X is greater than or equal to -3 and Y is less than or equal to -1. All right. Then we have different points, N, P, M, and L. So here's our graph. So I'm sure a lot of you are used to like Y is equal to 3X plus 1. And then this is a line. But some of you may not be so sure when it says X greater than equal to -3. So all that means is just like it's shown. If this is the X, right? And this is the X, this right here, your horizontal is your X axis. Then when it says X is greater than or equal to -3, we find -3. So here's -3 on X. And all we do is just picture this imaginary line going right down, okay? And when it says greater than, well, all things greater than are going to be like, which number is greater from -3, -2 or -4? Everything to the right. So everything to the right is going to be in our grid that satisfies that condition, okay? So that's where we are, everything where these blue arrows are. The next one says y is less than or equal to -1. So again, my y-axis, where's my y-axis? Right here. Y-axis runs vertically up and down. So now all I've got to do is find -1. Here's -1 here. I will make my line, okay? And then anything that is less than -1 is going to be like right here, okay? All these arrows here. Now, why didn't I put an arrow here? Okay, I don't want that. And the reason is because I found the first basically parameter, which is greater than x -3. So anything in this area is a no-go. So I don't want to shade that in or really care about it. It's where I've got the arrows to the right crossing with the arrows going down. And there's only one point that you can see that is within all that mess. And it is going to be point N right here. Point N satisfies the two conditions that it gave us, and N is going to be the correct answer. Okay. All right. Next one. So we've got a company rented a copy machine for $225 per month for 3 months. The company also paid, looks like less than, or a little more than a penny, $0.012 for each copy made. If the total cost of using the copy machine during this 3-month period was $1,107, how many copies did the company make? Okay, again, with these word problems, just follow them along and just kind of deductive reasoning. How are we going to work through this? So if it rented the machine, it's $225 a month for 3 months. So I've got $225 for 3 months. Okay. So we just, just stepping it out. So 225 times 3. So I'm paying $675 for those 3 months to copy. The company also paid it's 0.012. It's not 1.2 cents, whatever, for each copy made. If the total cost of 3 months period is 1,000, how many copies? Okay. So I got $675 already for my rent. I got the 1.2 cents for each copy, and I've got my total $1,107. So what I want to do is let's start with our $1,107 and subtract the $675, because that is our rental fee. So 1,107 minus $675 gives me $432. So now what do I do with that $432? That $432 represents our copies. And our copies cost the $0.12. So just divide it by, let's just do this. Is that 432? Let's divide that by our 0.012. And you end up getting 36,000. And that's it, right? 432 divided by the 0.12, 36,000. D, 36,000 copies is what they're looking for, okay? It's pretty straightforward. Just you're taking the cost and you're just finding the missing piece. In this case, it was the copies made, but they give you all the information there. So just straightforward. All right, question 9. what is the x-intercept of the line represented by the equation below? All right. So there are two things. Here we go in a graph with our x and our y. If you have a line, okay, where is the x-intercept? The x-intercept is at the point which it crosses the x-axis, which means that that point is, if we were doing it, it's going to be your x value, comma, 0. Now, why is that 0 there? It's because you go over, right? We always go left or right, and then we go up or down when we're plotting a point. So I don't go up because I got to stay on this line. That's why y equals 0. So now that we know y equals 0, to find the x-intercept, it's just x, comma, 0. If I wanted the y-intercept, it would just be opposite. It would be 0, comma, y. Does that make sense? Okay. So just a quick lesson on that. So now this one said, find me x-intercept. So now do you have a value? Yeah, you do. You have 0 for your y. So just substituting in, I have 3x plus 6 and then times 0 equals 30. Anything times 0 zeros itself out. I'm left with 3x equals 30 dividing by 3. X is equal to 10. 10 is the x-intercept of that equation. It's really that simple. There's nothing too difficult with that. The only thing you need to know is what is the coordinate for x-intercept, what is the coordinate for y-intercept, okay? And that's it. And also, you'll know you're doing it right because see how I have only the x variable and only the x variable, and then I solve for x variable. If it were the y-intercept, you would be solving all the way down for y. That was 9, 8, 9, 10. Oh, wow. I didn't think I was already at 10. Okay, last problem, 10. A square window has an area of 120 square feet. Which of the following is closest to the length of each side of the window? So I like this problem, and I like this problem for a certain reason, because I know that you would get confused on this one, and here's why. I have a square window. They tell me it's a square. That's important, right? Because what's the special properties of a square is that all sides are the same. So if my area equals 120, well, then that means it's got to be, how do I figure out what each side is? That means x times x equals 120. So if you do x squared, so it depends, there's a couple ways you do it. You can do x squared 120, find the square root. So 120 square root gives me 10.95. X equals 10.95. So tell me, what would you put as an answer if you got 10.95 as the length of each one of these? And I bet most of you would put 11 feet, right? Because you say to yourself, well, it's 10.95. It's so close. And I got to round anyways, so 11. So here's why that is wrong, okay? Because it says which of the following is closest. It didn't say what is the exact answer, okay? And I'm looking for closest. So here's what I want to show you. So because we had this window here, right? I'm going to do two windows I'm going to do this one over here. So if you picked 11, okay, what is 11 times 11? 11 times 11 gives me an area of 121. What is the value of our window? The window is 120. How can you have more than the value, even if it's just by 1? Okay. So the closest length to this window, given the answer choices, and that's what's key, the answer choices, it's not 11, right? because if I did 10 and 10, 10 and 10 give me an area of 100. Which one is closest to 120? Now remember, it's 120 without going over because we have a physical window here. Okay, we can't just estimate it up and say, it's close enough. It's just an extra square foot. Because then if you're doing it by the plans and you do it wrong, then your opening is now bigger than the window, or you've ordered a window that's bigger than the opening, and that could be a problem. So I need you to understand when it says closest to, it means it's closest to without going over. This is bad. This is not closest to 120 in the realm of I've got this this area, this physical thing. Okay. It doesn't say round up, it doesn't say anything. It just says which one is the closest. And 100 is closest to 121, if you can believe it or not, because we can't go over because it's physical. It's linear by the sides, or it's area by the square feet. Okay. So make sure that you choose B for this answer, because that is correct. Okay. Remember, you cannot go over. All right. And just like that, boom, all done. So last page is always the answer choices. If you need anything, I'll double check the comments here. If you need anything, the email address is info@Kathleen with a K, Jasper.com. And what I usually do is throughout the week, you'll send in your math problems. You guys have always been good at sending me different problems. Send me screenshots, send me typed up, send me an idea that you had, that you've seen a problem somewhere and you just didn't understand it. And then I can kind of make it up, or I can find a scenario or do something to that effect. But go ahead and get those to me. I put everything together by like Sunday afternoon. So if you can get it to me by Saturday, that's great. You've got a whole week. You don't have a whole week, but you got a few days to think about what it is that you need to get done. And I'll go ahead and do it for you. Because again, this is your session. I do this for you guys so that you can have a better understanding of how to pass these exams. All right. So let me double check the comments here. I've got, okay, that was how you figure out y-intercept. Stephanie, I hope I answered your question. We went over, where was it? There we go, y-intercept. So let me just, let's do that just because you asked, and it's the opposite. So let's just pretend, for argument's sake, that this said y-intercept. And so again, your y-intercept is going to be, this time it's going to be 0 on the x, and it's going to be your y point here. And so we just input what our value is. So I have 3 times 0 this time, plus 6y is equal to 30. And so 0 cancels out. I got 6y equal to 30, 6, y is equal to 5. Okay, so if you needed y-intercept, that's what you would do, just so you could see that for argument's sake. Okay, looks good right there. Let me double check, because there are some people on the old Facebook. And okay, we got another one, past the 5733 Friday. Fantastic, good job. Texas special ed, that doesn't deal with math, but you can go on our website and you can check out what we might have, or give us, just hit us up on the info account for the email, and I can answer that question a little better for you. Okay, looking good. I am happy to do this. I hope everybody is doing well. Remember, get signed up for your certification exams. Get it on the calendar. You guys have to have a goal to shoot for, right? If you just keep saying, oh, I'm going to take it, I'm going to take it, I'm going to take it, schedule it out like a month ahead or a month and a half ahead. That way it'll give you time to study and set a study plan, and then take your tests get them over with, get certified so that you can have the summer to either apply for your new jobs, interview for your new jobs, or keep your job. Okay. All right. That's it. That's it for the week. Everybody have a good one. If you need anything, info@kathleenjasper.com. kathleenjasper.com is the website. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the major socials. You can get a hold of us. If you need us, let us know. Other than that, everybody have a fantastic week, and I will see you next Tuesday.